everybody, and welcome into the first episode of Mueller Monday. This is episode 6 of the Duenkel Productions podcast. And you know it's Mueller Monday because Jake Mueller is on the show. Here we go. Jake, how are you, man? How are you doing on this Mueller Monday, my boy?
Dude, you have to be excited about Mueller Mondays. Mueller Mondays, baby. Here we go.
As Dick Vitale says, it's awesome, baby. It's awesome. All right, Jake. So just to start out here, we got some news and notes for you guys. Odell Beckham, turns out yesterday on that play, he did in fact tear his ACL. Prayers up for Odell, one of my favorite players in the league. We got Bears-Rams tonight. Jake's out here rocking the Rex Grossman jersey.
OG, baby. OG Rex, man. OG Rex.
Oh, man, it's a lot of fun on this show. All right, Jake, so let's start it out here, man. You know, obviously, the wild Sunday night game last night between the Seattle Seahawks versus Arizona Cardinals. Russell Wilson threw 3 interceptions. Very bad performance by him last night. A lot of people were very critical of him on Twitter, social media. Last night and even into this morning, Kyler Murray was very impressive last night, passing for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. And also Zane Gonzalez, shout out to him. Hashtag Pat McAfee for the brand. You know, we got to support the kickers on this show. Hit a 48-yard game-winning field goal in overtime. Jake, what was your biggest takeaway from the game, and what are your thoughts?
Well, the biggest takeaway, obviously, was that Seattle is vulnerable. You know, we did know that the defense was a little sus this year coming in. You know, they don't have Jadeveon Clowney anymore, so they don't have really have a pass rush. They don't have, like, a special guy. Usually you can scheme like a rush, but in the sense, sometimes you just want a natural go killer. You want that on the D-line. Like the Bears have Khalil Mack. You know, you got J.J. Watt. You got those type of guys that you can just go one-on-one. You can go 2-on-1 even sometimes, and you can just attack the quarterback so they don't have the pressure. So that was a big plus side for the Cardinals. Obviously, Kyler Murray is a dual-threat quarterback. So that was a big takeaway. Another one was maybe the Cardinals are actually legit. Maybe they're legit. I was a hater. I was thinking, all right, they're just floating through it. I didn't really think they would even come close to the Seahawks. I even chose the Seahawks. I think I said they would blow them out even. I'm not too sure. But another big takeaway is Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett, or not Tyler. Yeah, Lockett, the combo right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, that's a deadly combo right there. Not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure he hit 54 fantasy points. Like they were going off.
He hit 54 fantasy points. He had 200 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns last night in that game.
Yeah, big takeaways right there. But there was an injury towards the Cardinals though. Their running back will be out for. I don't think they gave out any weeks yet, but it's a torn ligament in the ankle. So we'll see how that goes. And but otherwise, the biggest takeaway I feel like would just be the vulnerability of the defense on Seattle. They're going to go as far as the defense is going to take them. How about you? What do you think?
Definitely, I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. I actually thought Arizona could be a playoff team this year, and it kind of had a lot of people like what, like almost confused, like kind of what you were saying, kind of sleeping on them. You know, Kyler Murray has really impressed me. You know, I watched that whole game last night, obviously, and, you know, getting down, you know, I thought it was going to be another Russell Wilson type game where Russell Wilson just dominated the football game. Seattle was able to, you know, walk away with the W because of how special he was. And, you know, Arizona, give them credit. They made plays defensively, offensively, and in the special teams as well. As I mentioned, Zane Gonzalez hitting some big field goals. But, yeah, like you said, Seattle's vulnerability on defense, I think that's the big thing. I think, you know, obviously when you talk about the NFC, you know, you have Green Bay and Tampa Bay, obviously, who have really high-powered offenses. And, you know, with that defense in Seattle going up against those caliber teams, are they really going to be able to hang with them because of that, because of how bad their defense is holding them back?
Yeah, especially since the Buccaneers, they're going to get Antonio Brown. So that's just going to make everyone else on the offense better. When you have a player like Antonio Brown, you know, he can go slants across the middle. He can do the deep ball. He can just be a decoy. So when you have a player like that makes Mike Evans better, that makes Godwin better, that makes Gronk better, that even makes Tom Brady better, if that's even possible. I'm sorry, he's the GOAT. Obviously, he was showing the accuracy. He was showing everything off, Screw Max Kellerman. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Had to say that. But, it's going to be, like we're saying, it's going to be however far the defense takes them. But, no, really, it was a good showing from the Cardinals, especially to the haters like myself. It was a really good showing. It was a really exciting game, like back and forth, But shout out to DK Metcalf for showing off the freaking hustle and to stop the potential touchdown. They didn't even get to score. So what do you think about that? What do you think about the hustle play right there before half?
I couldn't believe that play. I mean, DK obviously, he's a big, tall, deep threat wide receiver. He's got a great vertical. The connection that always correlates with me and from DK Metcalf is Calvin Johnson Megatron. I think he's going to be that type of player because I think he's a little faster than Calvin, believe it or not. I mean, last night he put on a great performance with that speed, and ultimately, Arizona, after they got tackled at the 5-yard line, weren't able to punch that football in the end zone. So that was a real turning point in the game, because Seattle still has a 13-7 lead. If Baker finishes that pick six, it's 14-13. Arizona's got all the momentum. You don't really see, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, those type of guys throw a lot of pick sixes. So, it was really shocking to me just to, DK is a great athlete. But I'll tell you this, the thing that surprised me was Patrick Peterson. I mean, DK was held to 2 catches on the night.
Yeah.
I mean, I had him in fantasy. I was down like 10 points. I'm like, all right, this is a for sure slam dunk. DK, we got DK in the lineup yet. And, didn't end up going my way. And, I was shocked by how well Pat Pete played because I haven't seen a Pat Pete game like that in a while. Pat Pete's a great corner without question. I mean, but you haven't seen that out of him in a little bit.
Right. And like you said, I got the stats on DK. He's 6'3", 238. He has a 40-inch vertical and runs the 40 in a 4.33. And last night he got up to 22.6 miles an hour, and he covered 108 yards. The guy had a 13-yard head start ahead of him, and yet he just chugged along, got to him, and saved some points. Obviously, it didn't work in the favor at the end of the game. DK is definitely a special athlete, like you said. The best comparison is Calvin Johnson. But you also did mention Patrick Peterson did shut him down. So, there's a lot of question marks coming out of the Seattle Seahawks game for Seattle. And but, we'll see how they rebound next week, right? We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they have San Francisco, which they're coming off a very dominating performance against New England, which is our next topic here. So let's jump right into that. San Fran does, in fact, play Seattle in Seattle next weekend, 3:25 on Fox. But, yeah, Jake, so obviously I know you're a Tom Brady guy. You follow him wherever he goes, just like me with LeBron, But I think last night's game really showed me that it's the skill positions. They don't have enough at the skill positions to be successful. I mean, because you look at Tom Brady, he's obviously better than Cam. He was able to elevate them to a 12-4 record. Obviously, they had a better defense last year. A lot of opt-outs this year. But it really showed me that the Patriots need to trade for a wide receiver, a tight end. Get a better running back. Do something because they're not going to be able to go far in the playoffs. With that core group of guys at the skill positions. Do I think the Pats can make the playoffs? Absolutely, because, obviously Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, two of the better coaches, Josh obviously offensively, Bill obviously defensive and head coach, arguably up there in the ranks of the coaches in this league. But Cam, 3 interceptions, he's trying to make big plays. But they really don't have the the skill positions to, make those plays and make those happen. I mean, it really said a lot. And I mean, their defense, they were on the field a lot, and
Yeah.
The 49ers didn't have Mostert, their best running back, obviously, and they were
Right.
still able to run the ball very effectively. So it was a real rough day for the Patriots. I think they'll turn it around. But what were your thoughts on New England, Cam, and what do you think about their skill positions? Do you agree or not that they obviously need to build up more at the skill positions?
Well, obviously, even going back last year, even it's been like the last probably about 2 seasons, that's been the big question mark. Obviously it was, Bill Belichick is throwing in these pieces like from nowhere, right? Usually it sometimes works because, you got Wes Welker from way back in the day, and then you also had Julian Edelman, and that worked out. But you have these people, like these players that just, they're not they don't have the it factor that other teams have, like we were talking about, like a Kansas City or some teams like that, and that really affects it. Yeah. Cam Newton's a great quarterback. He's a former MVP. He got hurt, and people called him washed up, but like we've all been saying, the Patriots are pretty much just have like a Jets offense. Like there's nothing, it's stale. There's nothing about it. Yes, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. No doubt about it. He's the greatest coach of all time, but he can only coach so much, where then you need to have some talent. You need to have some of these players that can make a special play, Do I think they should trade for this season to like start winning this season? I don't know, because the trade deadline's coming up. Is it next week? Is the trade deadline next week?
I believe it's this week. I believe. I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure, but I believe it's either this week or next week. So you're right. They don't have a lot of time.
Right. They don't have a lot of time, and I don't really think they have any like pieces, or like if they even like, I don't know if they want to start winning, because I think maybe just tank a little bit, get a draft pick or two, something, because I don't know if they have enough to go far enough in the playoffs to actually win. But you got to give the credit to San Francisco, though. They had a great game plan, obviously, since they only, they totally dismantled the Patriots, and they scored 33 points. That's and against a good defense too. Patriots defense is not that bad. They have a lot of talent on the defensive side, especially going against Bill Belichick. Obviously, he's a very great defensive coach. But the bad part about San Fran is like they did shut out, but they did do some good damage on defense against the Patriots. But their defense and the running backs are still, it's a little crippled. They got their injuries there, so that's something to look out for. And and then their offense can sometimes be stale a little bit, so you got to look out for that. Yes, you have Jimmy Garoppolo, a good young quarterback, and you do have Kittle, and you got some other pieces too. But you got to be careful. Sometimes it might get a little too stale, because sometimes you can see they were getting stumped sometimes. Yes, they did score, but you got to look out for that.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like you were saying, I mean, New England they have a lot of draft picks the next couple of years. So I think definitely, if you give this team 2 to 3 years, I just don't want to see them. Here's the thing, Jake. I don't want to see them move off Cam this offseason, because I think Cam actually still has a lot left in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs more around him. I mean, because you look at that year he had in Carolina, he had so much talent around him. He played so well, and then he got injured, and now he's back to being, I wouldn't say MVP Cam, but I would say pretty close to MVP Cam. I mean, he's good. I mean, he needs talent around him. I mean, that's how quarterbacks are when they get older. They need more talent around them. And, it really speaks that, the Patriot way might have to change a little bit, and, start going after some pieces to get back in the winning mindset. But, like I said, New England, they'll make the playoffs. I mean, I'm not.
They'll find a.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. They play at Buffalo next weekend. I could totally see them winning that football game. Totally see.
I could see it, but it would be a tough one. It would definitely be a tough one.
By the way, speaking of the picks for that game, check out our pick segment on the IG Live every Sunday, 10 a.m. It's sometimes me and Jake, sometimes other people, we might switch up, we might not. We haven't really went that far yet. But Jake, let's quickly talk about the Steelers and the Titans game.
Mhm.
24-24. I mean, 27-24 Steelers over the Titans. Really good game. This game actually showed me that, these two are clearly second and third best in the AFC. I would put Pittsburgh 2 and Tennessee 3 because, Pittsburgh obviously won right there with Kansas City. But I think both of these teams can compete with Kansas City out of what I saw, this weekend.
Totally, but at the same time, you got to be able to look at it. The Steelers were up 27-7, I believe it was in the third quarter. It was early though, but and the Titans did make their little comeback there. Yeah, they missed a field goal. But it happens. But no, definitely, these are two good teams. I'm definitely nervous of the Titans if I was in the AFC in the playoff picture because with Derrick Henry back there, the stiff arm god, you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful of a man like that. I'm very happy to see the Steelers doing as good as they are. They're still undefeated. Ben Roethlisberger coming back from injury. Some people, like I said, they said about Cam, him being washed up. It's not the case. He's winning football games. It doesn't matter how they're winning football games as long as you're winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a good game. I love that kind of game. Good thing the Steelers hung on a little bit at the end. There was some luck, but that's all that matters. But no, it was a great game overall. It showed a lot, and two good playoff teams definitely. I'd lock these two in as playoff teams. AFC North. That's a battle though. You got to be careful of the Ravens if you're the Steelers, but I think the Titans will definitely lock up the South down there. The Texans, they imploded themselves. The Colts, they have a very good defense, but not so much. And then the Jaguars, it's the Jaguars, right? It's the Jaguars. They don't need to worry about it. But like you said, Kansas City's definitely on top of the AFC. They're the kings. They hold that throne until someone can try to stop them. And they just keep adding pieces. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I go Kansas City 1. I got Pittsburgh at 2. And like you said, Titans at 3 just because, the matchup they lost, obviously. But, I think I would have those two tied, but, just because they lost.
Yes, sir, Jake. And, speaking of Baltimore at Pittsburgh next weekend. Huge game.
That's a dog fight. Those are always gruesome. Those things,
Yeah, I mean, you talk about obviously, Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. I mean, it's wild. Like James Harrison, all these guys, Big Ben,
mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco, obviously, Lamar is now in that battle. But yeah, I think I totally agree with you. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, playoff teams without question. I would honestly pencil both of these teams in as division winners. I think Pittsburgh will beat Baltimore next week. I think they might even do it in kind of convincing fashion, to tell you the truth. I've been watching Pittsburgh closely the last couple of weeks, and they have really impressed me. I mean, Tennessee though too. Don't sleep on them. Tannehill's playing at a really high level. I mean, obviously, they set up their kicker for a 47-yarder, missed that. That happens, obviously, But if he makes that, it would have been really interesting to see what would have went on in that game. But, a lot of good football this weekend, Jake. I mean, it really was.
Yeah, no, this
a lot of
very
good
exciting
football.
week. Yeah, and the games are still going. We got the Bears and Rams playing right now on Monday Night Football. It's 0-0 right now, though, but it's early first quarter, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that's another game that definitely has a lot of people's eyes on it. Obviously, our picks this week, Jake, were not the greatest. We did not do the best. We both called that Washington game though. Washington.
That's business, baby. That's business. We got one.
Washington smoked Dallas. I could not believe that.
Well, did you see the hit on Andy Dalton? Did you see that?
Yeah, without question, that is a totally dirty play. I think he should be suspended for at least 2 games for that hit. That is
totally gave himself up. He totally gave him up, and he just comes and clocks him like at the end. And I was seeing it on ESPN, and I would agree with them when I watched the play. I'm like, no Cowboys players are gonna get in his face. No one's gonna push the other John stick around. What the? and then like Stephen A. Smith made the great point. If that was Dak Prescott, that would have happened. Like, they would have probably killed the guy. The Dallas fans would have came out of the stands and started whooping the man's ass. But no one's gonna do that for the Red Rocket, man. Like,
no, dude, no. It was I couldn't believe it. I was watching. I had that. I had the NFL game day highlights on my computer, and then obviously the Packers on the bigger TV. But I saw that hit, and I'm like, really, no one got in his face. No one said anything. That's a dirty play. These plays need to be avoided in football. Especially when the quarterback is giving himself up. Like, there's no place for that. I mean, just these are the kind of hits that we're trying to avoid to help avoid concussions and these problems that concussions can obviously cause. Concussions can cause problems.
But I'm glad Mike McCarthy, on the press game or post-game press conference, he was like, I don't understand why my players, didn't do anything. He called them out. They were saying he didn't have enough emotion as a coach. Well, he gave it to him. He was like, what's your guys' deal? Like, that's our teammate. This is family, someone hurts one of us, you just. But hey, there's a lot of problems down in Dallas, and we've all known that. So, but it's the NFC East, so they might end up in the playoffs. We don't know. Who knows?
Jake, it's the NFC least, my boy. Remember that. The NFC least. Speaking of which, Dallas at Philadelphia next weekend. That is going to be some game. That is going to be
total
game.
Crap.
I think so, but I don't know. The Sunday night games this year have been so good. So I mean, I'm hoping we get treated to another great one. Obviously, you talk about this will be for first place in the division or tie. I honestly don't know with the NFC least anymore. All those teams are just bad. All right,
they really are.
Let's shift to this. Jake, the Ohio State played some football this weekend.
Yes, sir.
And they did, in fact, end up winning in pretty big fashion. So let's bring on our first guest to Mueller Monday, joining us, Mr. Buckeye Nation himself, JJ Air. Let's bring him in. JJ Air, how we doing?
What's up, boys? How you guys doing?
We good, man. We good. It's Mueller Monday. We're feeling good. We're talking football almost the whole show today. So that's awesome. I love talking football, and I know obviously you do too. And Jake loves talking football himself as well. But JJ, I wanted to quick ask you, what were your thoughts on the Buckeyes' big win against Nebraska, and what are you looking for in their game at Happy Valley or Penn State? I think it's called Happy Valley.
It's hard to ignore that wide receiver core, man. The passing game with Justin Fields, he looks a lot more mobile this year, a little bit more athletic. I like seeing him get out of the pocket a little bit, and those receivers, it's going to be a problem for any team in college stopping that. I might be a little biased, but I don't know any set of DBs in the nation that are stopping the Buckeyes offense.
Maybe, if Ohio State DBs that, came from the Ohio State, like, Denzel Ward, Marshawn Lattimore, those guys come back.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we got a chance, hashtag BIA, best in America. But Jake, also wanted to get your thoughts on that game, what you thought, big takeaway from that.
Man, it was a good game, but, go Clemson on that one. Go Clemson. Go dirty on that one, Brett. Go Clemson. Go Clemson. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, man. Hey,
Clemson's the one team I don't want to play. I'll say that right now. After that Jalen Waddle injury, man, I don't know. Clemson's the only team I see beating the Buckeyes this year.
Yeah, like you were saying, JJ, Clemson, they're a very talented football team. I wanted to also get your thoughts and, ask you and Jake about what you guys kind of thought about the quarterback class. A lot of people are, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. What you guys think of both of those guys? Do you think these guys are like 1A, 1B, or one's a clear-cut number one and the other's clear-cut number two?
Oh yeah, I think it's a 1A 1B type thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw what Trevor Lawrence did to us in the playoffs last year. I mean, that dude's a true NFL talent quarterback. He sits in the pocket and just delivers dimes. But I mean, Justin Fields too, man. You can't overlook him. He offers a different perspective to the game. He's just athletic.
No, I totally agree. Obviously, I think Trevor Lawrence will go number 1. Sadly, he's probably going to go to like a Jets team, so you probably won't really see much of him. It's going to be a little bit of a heartbreak there. But no, like JJ said, Justin Fields is definitely a different type. But against Nebraska, he did have 95% completion, so that's definitely a big highlight to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys both said, Fields is a different dynamic. He's really improved as a passer, this last year and a half. I mean, you look at last year early on in the season, he was, sailing some footballs, didn't always have the best accuracy, was still a dual threat running the football, obviously with JK back there. But yeah, he's really developed into a really good passer. I think he's going to be at the next level, probably a better version of Lamar, because he's obviously a better passer. I don't know what you guys think or what comparison you would draw to Fields.
Yeah, man, that arm strength looked like Jake was saying, 20 of 21 from passing, I think, this weekend. His arm strength is looking good. In terms of his running ability, I would place him more towards like a Lamar Jackson type just because he's athletic. He's got the speed. But overall, he kind of reminds you of Russell Wilson. If I had to draw one QB comparison in the NFL, I'd go Russ.
No, those are both. I agree with both of those. I didn't even think about Russell Wilson, but no, I totally agree with that. But it'll be fun to see these two. Like we said, Trevor Lawrence in the NFL. We'll see these two definitely making some plays.
Guys, predictions. Ohio State at Penn State, 6:30, ABC, Halloween night. Who you guys got and why?
You want to answer that one first?
Yeah, I'll go. Obviously, it's going to be Ohio State. I'll go for Brett. It's going to be Ohio State. I think they're just going to dismantle them, obviously. I think they just got too much. It's Ohio State. I think we're going to go here with I think we're going to go 45-7. Go 16. 45-16 Ohio State.
I like that, man. I'm rolling Buckeyes, too. I'm going 42-14. Buckeyes rolling. I think that offense keeps it going. Got to establish the run game a little bit more, but I feel like the Buckeyes are going to take this one pretty easily.
Something that you guys didn't bring up, which is I'm kind of surprised neither of you guys brought this up, but that crowd at Penn State, 6:30 on Saturday night, that's a big home field advantage. I think not having that is going to be a huge deal. But I do think Penn State's going to come in motivated off of that loss to Indiana. That was obviously one of the better games in college football this weekend. But I think like you guys both said, Ohio State's just got too much firepower. I like them 38-27 in this one. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than both of you guys think.
You think it's going to be a little close?
Yeah, a little bit.
I want to see Trey Sermon get after it this weekend, man. I want to see him get rolling.
Yeah, we got to get our running game going. Ohio State, they've obviously, J.K. and Mike Weber, all those, Carlos Hyde. You got a lot of good backs there. I think Trey Sermon's the next one. I think it's going to take him some time to get going, but I think the Buckeyes are poised for a national title run, and I think it'll be Ohio State, Clemson in the national title game, and we'll obviously talk more if that actually happens. But,
that'd be a game. Obviously Clemson would probably whip their ass. So.
Well, I don't know. I want to see Clemson play some real opponents, man. I mean, that 70 piece is impressive, but I mean, Big Ten. That's what college was missing. I feel like just that balancing out of the whole entire league, pretty much. That's the Big Ten, just the stable force.
Yeah,
no, JJ's right on that. Yeah.
Yeah, great point, JJ. Well, JJ, thank you so much for joining us tonight on this.
Of course, brother.
We were happy to have you. We'd love to have you again. Obviously, if you want to stop by and talk some Buckeye football
send the
anytime.
link.
All right.
Always down to talk Buckeyes, baby.
OHIO.
You know how we roll, baby.
All right, JJ.
All right, boys. Have a good night.
You too. Have a good night. Well, that was fun. That was fun getting JJ on here.
But I was thinking, go Clemson, all right? Go Clemson.
No, no.
You guys are goons. You guys are goons. You're gonna be crying. You're gonna be crying.
Jake, put some respect on Duenkel Productions. You know how I feel.
Put some respect on it.
All right, man. So, obviously we have to talk about the World Series and how dramatic it has been. I mean, Randy Arozarena. I mean, the Dodgers, fighting back. Clayton Kershaw, again, another masterpiece of a performance. And I did say that in the World Series prediction on episode 2 of Duenkel's Productions, that the Dodgers were going to win in 7, and it was going to be experience, defense, and pitching. And I've been spot on so far about the experience and the pitching and the defense for the Dodgers. Jake, what were your thoughts, and how do you see this series finishing out? You see it going 6 or 7?
I see it going 6 now, definitely because it was a very convincing win. Maybe the score doesn't really show, but I think it was more of a convincing win this one. But like you said, check out the podcast on YouTube, Duenkel Productions. Make sure you check that out. But, like you said, it was a good pitching outing for Kershaw. He becomes the all-time leading strikeouts all-time in baseball. All-time, yeah. It was a good game, definitely. It was definitely noticeable that the Dodgers are probably going to win this one. They just have the experience. They got every player you could think of. But I don't know if they're going to go – I don't know if the Rays are going to go away silent. I definitely think this Game 6 is going to be a dogfight. It's definitely going to be something to watch. I think it's going to be exciting. Like this whole series has been, honestly. Last game was probably the most dramatic baseball game I've ever seen in my life. And then you also got, last night was a little bit more, it was more calm. So I think we needed that. But I think it's going to go Dodgers in 6, just like you said, for the fact of the pitching, the experience. They've been there, for how many years in a row? I think it's been 3 out of the 4 out of the 5, something like that. So I think the experience will just prevail them through it. I think that the Rays, though, they gotta step up. They need to start swinging them bats a little bit better, and but Dodgers in 6 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have Dodgers in 7, man. I'm gonna stick with my prediction before the series. One of my big things for Game 6 is going to be Blake Snell being on the mound for the Rays. I like Blake Snell. I think Blake Snell is one of the better pitchers we have in the game of baseball today. And I think with the Dodgers, I believe they're pitching Gonsolin, if I'm not mistaken. Gonsolin will pitch Game 6, and then they have Walker Buehler in Game 7. I think, you're right, though. The Rays aren't going to go away silently. I think Game 6 is going to be just as crazy as probably Game 4 was. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks. I think, I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think the Rays are going to make one play late. And, we're going to the 2 greatest in sports, which is Game 7. I'm honestly really looking forward to, this series has lived up to the hype. A lot of people were saying Dodgers in 5, Dodgers in 6, pretty easily. And I said, I think the Rays are going to make this in a series, and they really have. You got to give them credit. Their whole team. I mean, they talked about it after Game 4 that, this was a total team effort, and that's what the Rays need. They need a total team effort to win because obviously, me and you have alluded to it that the Rays obviously talent-wise don't match up with the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers have, Kershaw, Buehler, Seager, Bellinger, Betts. I mean, the list goes on
and on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many good guys on that team. I want to see a Game 7. I think this series has been great, and I think a Game 7 would just make it even better. But, yeah, I mean, like you said, Dodgers pitching experience and defense, really has helped them gain this lead in this series. Obviously they had the Game 4 errors, where the defense was bad. But other than Game 4, that last, sequence there, they've been very good defensively. One of the better defensive teams I've seen in baseball in a while.
Totally. I think another big thing that the Rays and, Rays or the Dodgers, it can go either way for this one, but I was more towards the Rays last night, and, during the series was they got it when they have their opportunities, when you got a guy on third and first and, you got to be able to get someone home at least. You can't just go out empty-handed, or even I don't think they had loaded bases, but when you got guys on base, you got to get something home. You can't just go out empty-handed. You can't just be like, oh, we left guys on base. That's points. You got to get those any way you can possible. I think like we said, pitching, and then you got to get a little bit of luck here and there to get a little something going, but it'll be a good game. What were your thoughts though on stealing home last night? Did you see that they were stealing home? What are your thoughts on that one?
I like the play. I like the play because, the Rays obviously know that, the talent gap is there's a talent gap there. I mean, me and you both alluded to it, there is. And sometimes when you think you need to make a play, you try and make a play. I mean, that play at the plate was very close. It was
very close.
I mean, I would have challenged it regardless. I mean, I was shocked that they did not challenge that call at the plate because it was so close. I mean, yeah, I think you got him out, granted, but, I mean, it doesn't hurt to, get an extra set of eyes, just in case. But I thought, yeah. I thought it was a great move by the Rays. I thought it really sent a message, we're not going away quietly. They were down, but they're not going away quietly. We're here to win. We're going to do whatever it takes, whatever we have to do to win this series. And I think it really says a lot. I think it.
Oh, totally.
I think it really does. And like you were saying, I mean, stealing home. It doesn't happen often. I mean, the last baseball game I can remember, I had to look this up before the episode today. 2016 NLCS Game 1, Javier Baez stealing home against the Dodgers. That was the last one where I remembered clearly, and he did in fact steal home, and that one was close as well. But I mean, this one. You're talking World Series. You're talking, obviously too, Jake, the series is tied at 2-2.
Yeah.
This is the game that, swings the series one way or the other. So I think, I like the move. Do I think that, they should have challenged it? That's what I would say, but good job by the Dodgers, because that is very hard to do. John Smoltz mentioned this on the broadcast last night, that you have to step off the rubber so you don't get a balk.
Yeah.
So that was very impressive that Muncy told Kershaw had the awareness to do that and not just go right to the plate.
Yeah, no, I'm watching it right now. Yeah, you're right. I'm watching him take his foot off the rubber. Yeah. Okay, I didn't even hear that. No, that's a heads up play. That's a heads up play by both of them. But I like the play actually. I like the idea of the Rays trying to tie the score up. They were down 3-2, bottom of the fourth, and I think it's one of those plays where that's a momentum shifter. And if you have those in sports, and if you have those opportunities, you have to take it. And you have to try to win. In this case, tie it up. And, I think it's a heads up play, but I don't know. I'm questioning, like you said, on challenging. I don't know, like if there's a certain rule where you can't challenge it or something like that. Cause sometimes with these, with the challenges, there's certain rules where you can challenge this, but you can't challenge that. So I don't know if it was something like that. They just couldn't, but if that was an opportunity, I definitely would have, because, Ty goes to the runner, and it was that close where, I think they might have gone their way, but you never know. But it was definitely well executed by the Dodgers. Obviously, got them out of that inning, and got them out of the little cram there. It was a great heads up play by both teams, but I think this is going to be – I definitely think this is going to be a good Game 6 to watch. And that's tomorrow night at 7, if I'm correct, right? So it's on Tuesday at at 7.
Yep, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time on Fox.
Well, there you go. Nothing's going on. No football, no basketball anymore. Nothing going on. So you're going to put that in the background, watch it, have a good time, because I think that's going to be a pretty explosive game to watch.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll tell you guys this too, just a little sneak peek. Thinking maybe if this thing goes 7 and it's a close game, you know, going into the 8th or 9th inning, we might have to fire up an IG Live, you know, during a game 6 or a game 7, you know, just get some live reactions, get to see what's going on, interact with everybody, you know what it is. But yeah, overall, I mean, great weekend of sports without question. I mean, like you and JJ brought up, you know, Ohio State, you know, they were impressive. You know, the World Series was impressive. You know, Indiana beating Penn State. That was a crazy game. I mean, you had Seahawks, Cardinals and that game on. You had both of them on at the same time. It was unbelievable. And, I mean, you talk about just everything, man. It was a great weekend. I mean, even tonight, man, you know, Mueller Monday podcast on the Duenkel Productions. You know, you got Bears Rams. I'm sure we'll tune into that after we're done here. But overall, great episode, Jake.
Yes, sir. It was a great time being on here. Mueller Mondays. Make sure you check out the Instagram, Dunks Productions. Check out YouTube. You know, subscribe, leave a like, comment down below. But yeah, Mueller Mondays. Shout out to JJ though. Great guest, man.
Yeah, JJ, great guy. He's probably one of the biggest Buckeye fans I know. So I know he wanted to talk some Buckeyes tonight, and I'm happy we were able to get him on. But stay tuned, because we got big plans for Mueller Mondays. We got special guests. We got some stuff planned. You know, it'll definitely be in the works. But thank you everyone so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Shout out to Jake and JJ for coming on the show, helping us out. Jake's second time, JJ's first time. Shout out to the boys. Let's go. Hashtag Mueller Monday. It's a great episode. Thanks everyone for watching. Like Jake said, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment on who you want to see on the show, or possibly if you want to be on the show, leave us a comment, or also hit us up on Instagram, as Jake mentioned. That is Dunks_Productions. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Peace out.